Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Welcome back on Financial Review Program with me, NADIA, NATASHA, BINTI, ROSLI, your favorite host. So today we are looking forward to know more about this leading company in Asia, Maybank. We also have special guests from the top management of Maybank company in the Kuala Lumpur branch. They are here to present detailed information on the company's financial performance. Without further ado, let's introduce our guests.
Hello and good morning everyone. My name is Puteri Farahidayu binti HAIRULANUAR. I am also a junior account executive in Maybank Berhad for 2 years now. I'm very excited for our 2-3 program and thank you so much for having me.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is AFIQAH binti Muhammad Noor. I'm currently working as a junior accountant executive in Maybank Berhad. Previously, I worked at Petronas as an accounting clerk for almost 3 years. Even though my previous company is slightly different from the current one, the knowledge I have learned before helps me to improve and enhance my skills so that I can contribute more to this company. Thank you for having me today.
Hello, I am ZAHID, also one of the account executives in Maybank. I worked with NASA for about 7 years before I joined Maybank almost 2 years ago. So I think that's all from me for now.
Thank you all for the brief introduction. Before we get further into Maybank's financial performance, let us know more about Maybank. Maybank was established in 1960 and today is the largest company by market capitalization on the Malaysian bourse. It is ranked first among listed Malaysian companies and among the top 500 companies in the Forbes Global 2000 leading companies of the world. Until now, Maybank holds their mission to humanize financial services across Asia by providing access to financial services to the people at fair terms and pricing and to be always at the heart of the community. These are some of the highlights of activities done by Maybank in year 2020. As we all know, COVID-19 has impacted all over the world, including Malaysia. Maybank gave hope by offering customers various financial relief and support schemes while contributing to numerous efforts on the ground to contain the pandemic, including a total group donation of over 20 million to Mercy Malaysia and the Ministry of Health. Besides that, Maybank also gives support to SMEs by assisting more than 4,400 small businesses affected by the pandemic, onboarding them onto Sama-Sama local online platform. Maybank also launched the first end-to-end digital financing for SMEs in Malaysia. Despite being impacted by COVID-19, Maybank was able to give a payout ratio of 91.2% and it was once again above their dividend payout policy rate of 40% to 60%. This shows that Maybank has good performance in maintaining their reputation no matter what the circumstances they are handling, and this gives assurance to their account holder. Next, we will have Ms. Puteri to explain more on management approach used by Maybank in order to have segment reporting.
So now I'm going to explain about management approach used by Maybank from the perspective of factor to consider having a segment reporting. There are 3 factors to consider having a segment reporting. First and foremost is of course the nature of the business activity. As we know, Maybank engaged in the provision of financial products and services through 3 key business pillars, which are Group Community Financial Services, Group Global Banking, and Group Insurance and Takaful. The second factor is the existence of managers who are responsible for their activity. Maybank is known as the largest financial services group in Malaysia with an established presence in the ASEAN region. So of course, every segment is managed by their own manager who are responsible for the overall strategy, growth and profitability of the segment across the region. The manager also will be a middleman to deal with the chief operating decision maker. Last but not least will be the information presented to the Board of Directors. The Chief Operating Decision Maker may refer to the reports evaluated by the Board of Directors since they include valuable insight about the entity's performance and growth. For instance, financial statements that provide complete information to the Board of Directors, allowing them to make better decisions by analyzing which segment or department should be maintained or eliminated. Maybank divide their business into 3 segments. The first one is Group Community Financial Services, comprise the full range of products and services that offer to individual, retail SME and mid-sized corporates such as retail banking services. For instance, wealth management, short-term credit and long-term loans. Secondly is Group Global Banking that comprise full range of products and services offered to large corporates and institutions such as wholesale banking services. For example, transactional banking, investment banking, and global market and treasury. And the third one is Group Insurance Takaful. It comprises the business of underwriting all classes of general and life insurance businesses, offshore investment life insurance businesses, general takaful and family takaful businesses that offer to both individual and corporates. For geographical segment, Maybank also provide a full array of conventional and Sharia-compliant commercial banking, investment banking and insurance product and services in 18 countries, including all 10 ASEAN countries, with Malaysia, Singapore and Indonesia contributing the highest operational income. Maybank also present in international financial centers such as London, New York, Hong Kong and Dubai. And next, I'm going to explain about Chief of Decision Making and its responsibility. Since 2nd August 2013, Dato' Abdul Farid has served as the Group President and Chief Executive Officer of Maybank. He is in charge of the Maybank Group's overall business growth and regionalization strategies, as well as ensuring that long-term value is delivered to shareholders, customers, workers, and all other stakeholders. He is also responsible for communicating on behalf of the company to the shareholders, government entities, and also the public. While for each segment, it will be directed by their own Group Chief Executive Officer. The first one is Dato' John Tong Eng Tuan, that will be in charge of Commodity Financial Services. He is in full control of the business growth and strategy direction of commodity financial services in the region. Dato' Muzaffar Hisham will be in charge of Global Banking. He is in responsibility of Group Global Banking's business growth and regionalization plan for corporate and transactional banking, investment banking, and client coverage. Kamaluddin Ahmad will be in charge of driving and managing the entire strategy, growth, and profitability of the group's insurance and takaful business across the region. And Dato' Muhammad Rafiq Marikan, Muhammad Wahiduddin Marikan manage Group Islamic Banking's business strategies, product development, risk, Sharia compliance management, as well as franchise growth and regional expansion. And Dato' John Lee Hin Hock leads Maybank Singapore's business growth and drive its strategy, branding, innovation development in line with the group vision, mission, and strategy. And lastly is Taswin ZAHID. He develops strategies and offers general direction for Maybank Indonesia business activity, as well as overseeing their growth. He is also in charge of overseeing Maybank's Indonesia subsidiaries.
Thank you, Ms. Puteri. We can conclude that management approach provides a transparent understanding of performance and forecasting company's future growth through an internal management structure. This statement goes along with the core concept of MFRS 8. Let's move on to our next guest, Ms. AFIQAH. As a junior account executive, can you explain how Maybank identified the reportable segment and non-reportable segment?
Yeah, sure. For your information, to identify a reportable segment and non-reportable segment, we have to go through a process. We have to use a certain amount of judgment, which consists a quantitative threshold test, or known as 10% threshold test, and the other judgment is 75% total revenue requirement. According to MFRS 8 operating segment requirement, we shall report the information separately with regards to the operating segment only if it passed the quantity of 10% threshold test and 75% threshold to identify the qualification of reportable operating segment. I would like to highlight that the 10% threshold test consists of 3 tests. They are revenue basis, profit or loss basis, and asset basis, in which it must meet the 10% threshold test or more to be considered as reportable segment and disclosed separately. We can use any of 10% threshold test, and our company, Maybank Berhad, decided to use revenue basis to measure our operating segment. Therefore, 10% threshold test will be evaluated based on our total reported revenue from sales to external customers and inter-segment. So here is the original segment revenue as reported in Maybank Berhad's annual report. According to the calculation shown above, after performing the 10% threshold test of revenue basis, there are only 3 reportable segments identified, which are Community Financial Service of 59%, Corporate Banking and Global Market of 36%, and the last one is Insurance and Takaful of 11%. Since investment banking, asset management, head office, and others does not meet the requirement of 10% threshold test, it will be combined together and disclosed as all other segment categories in segmental report. After determining the reportable segment, we must do a segmental analysis of 75% threshold, in which the total external revenue of reportable segment must be at least 75% of total external revenue of our company. As shown in the table, after performing 75% threshold, the reportable segment are 105%, which exceeds 75%. Therefore, no additional segment to be reported. However, In order to have at least 4 reportable segments and 1 non-reportable segment in Maybank Berhad, we have to make an adjustment of operating segment as shown in the following table. There is an addition of shareholders unit segment in the new operating segment adjustment. As a result of an adjustment, Maybank Berhad has 4 reportable segments and 3 non-reportable segments. In comparison, the new segmental report by using adjustment of the new operating segment will change the reportable status. As per calculation by using revenue basis, there are 4 reportable segments as they meet the 10% threshold requirement. It comprises Community Financial Service of 53%, Corporate Banking and Global Market of 32%, Insurance and Takaful of 10%, and the last one is Shareholders Unit of 10%. Investment Banking, Asset Management, Head Office and others will be reported as all other segments as it fails to meet the 10% requirement. However, if Maybank Berhad believes that the information in the non-reportable segment is significant to the user of financial segment, we may choose to include the investment banking, asset management, head office and others as reportable segments by applying 75% tax, since the 75% tax rule has been satisfied by the company of 105%. Therefore, we may simply ignore the investment banking, asset management, head office and other segment.
Thank you, Ms. AFIQAH. Based on her statement, we can see that segment reporting is important to help financial statement users better understand company performance, better access company's prospect, and make more informed judgment about the company as a whole. Now, let's take a look at the advantages of segment reporting. First, it helps in the optimum utilization of resources and better presentation. It helps the organization in better decision making, as the planning about expansion or diversification is to be done based on the result of the segment. Second, it helps potential investors in better investment decision. It provides investors the complete detail about their units, their profitability, and others. They can also analyze and decide upon investment in the organization. Last but not least, to analyze most profitable or loss-making units. The profit-making and loss-making units can be easily identified with the help of segment reporting. Next, we will look at the disadvantages of segment reporting. First, it is a time-consuming process since there are many disclosures required in the case of segmental reporting. Second, the data presented can be misinterpreted by investors or creditors. Operating data by segment are developed for internal management users, so external users may have difficulty in understanding and using them in investment decisions. And lastly, method of reporting inter-segment transactions are different for each organization. The base of the segment is also different, as some organizations divide the segment based on geographical location and based on product wise. Now, let's proceed to the interim report presentation by Mr. ILMAN.
Alright, before proceed further into the topics, there are a few bases of preparation of interim report that I would like to point out. Firstly, this report is prepared under historical cost basis, except for certain financial assets and liabilities that are stated at their fair value. Secondly, of course, this report has been prepared in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 9, Part K of the listing requirements of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad, MFRS134 and IAS34. Next, the significant accounting policies and methods of computation applied are also consistent with the most recent audited annual financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2020, except for the adoption of the amendments to MFRS 4, 7, 9, 16 and 39 regarding interest rate benchmark reform phase 2, and amendment to MFRS 16 regarding COVID-19 related rent concessions beyond 30th June 2021. Adoption for these amendments effective for annual periods on or after the 1st January 2021, and it do not have any significant financial impact to the financial statements. So, a lot of accounting policies are used in preparing this interim report. If I were to highlight two of it, the first one will be MFRS 138 Intangible Asset. This table shows the summary of policies applied to Maybank's intangible assets. It will be measured initially at its cost and subsequently at its cost less any accumulated amortization and any impairment losses. Intangible assets with indefinite useful life will not be amortized, but it will be tested for impairment and reviewed annually, while intangible assets with finite useful life will be amortized over its useful life and tested when there is an indication of impairment. The second accounting policy is MFRS 116, Property, Plant and Equipment. It will also be measured initially at its cost and subsequently at its cost less accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment losses. The PPE will be depreciated on a straight line basis over its useful life at the annual rates shown in the table, except for freehold land, because it has unlimited useful life and therefore is not depreciated.
From the reports, we can see that there are 5 types of interim reports prepared by Maybank, which are unaudited condensed income statement, unaudited condensed statement of comprehensive income, unaudited condensed statement of financial position, unaudited consolidated statement of changes in equity, and unaudited condensed statement of cash flow. Mr. Ilman, do you mind to elaborate more on the period for the current and comparative of each statement that are prepared by Maybank?
Sure. Maybank's accounting period ends on 31st December annually. Now we are referring to the interim report of the second quarter, which is from 1st April 2021 until 30th June 2021. For the unaudited income statement and comprehensive income, the reporting period are 3 months for the current interim from 1st April 2021 until 30th June 2021, 6 months for cumulative year-to-date from 1st January 2021 until 30th June 2021, 3 months for comparative current interim from 1st April 2020 until 30th June 2020, and 6 months for comparative year-to-date from 1st January 2020 until 30th June 2020. On the other hand, for the unaudited statement of financial position, reporting period is for 3 months for current interim from 1st April 2021 until 30th June 2021, and 12 months for comparative period end of year from 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020. Lastly, for the statement of changes in equity and statement of cash flow, the reporting period is 6 months for cumulative year-to-date from 1st January 2021 until 30th June 2021, and also 6 months for comparative period year-to-date from 1st January 2020 until 30th June 2020. Lastly, before I stop, I would like to show the effects of some adjustments. The first adjustment is related to the intangible asset. On 1st January 2021, a software costing 200,000 ringgit that was purchased on 1st January 2016 with the expected useful life of 10 years was disposed. Its carrying value on the date was 100,000 ringgit. Then on 14th January 2021, a new software was acquired at the cost of 500,000, which is expected to be used for another 10 years. After the adjustment, the closing balance of its cost is 10,744,905,000 ringgit, but the accumulated amortization is 2,988,750,250. The carrying value of intangible asset is 6,111,658,750 after deducting its cost with its accumulated amortization and accumulated impairment losses. The second adjustment is related to PPE. On 31st June 2021, a building with a fair value of 800,000 was transferred from investment property to owner-occupied. There was a change in use of the building, so the amount of PPE will increase by 800,000 while investment property will decrease by 800,000. Before the adjustment, the amount of PPE, IP, and intangible asset disclosed in the statement of financial position for the quarter ended 30th June 2021 was 2,165,691,000 ringgit, 941,865,000 ringgit, and 6,643,932,000 ringgit respectively. After taking into consideration of both adjustments, the amount disclosed is adjusted to 2,166,491,000 ringgit, 941,006,500 ringgit, and 6,111,658,750 ringgit respectively. So I think that's all from me. Thank you. Back to the host.
Thank you, Mr. Ilman, for the explanation. I think we have come to the end of our program. I'm sure there are a lot of new beneficial information gained by our viewers. Thank you to all the guests. Till then, goodbye and Assalamualaikum.